Hi. Yeah. So today we're talking about they they can't understand what I'm saying. It's muffled. Okay. Hi. I'm Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. From the gameplay that you're seeing behind me, it looks very much like the Elder Scrolls games. Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, the very elusive Elder Scrolls 6, if that ever happens. So something that sets this game apart from a lot of other RPGs of the era. This is a double A game. Very small studio. It had like around 30 people developing it. So for the game to have even came out half as good as it is, I would have put that as a win. But this game turned out amazing. It's amazing. While it doesn't have the polish of a AAA game, it very much has ambition. And for the first real game, there was another game. It was more like a board game though. So the first real video game in this franchise to be this good, if they get a sequel, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. It's not that this game isn't without its faults. There are plenty. But if you're like me, if the game's good enough, you kind of overlook those problems. And I think this is definitely a game that's good enough to warrant overlooking some issues. Tainted Grail isn't trying to be a perfect RPG in any way, but it's trying to be a huge RPG. And I think it very much hits that on the head. I think they knock it out of the park with this. Without a doubt, the world building is the strongest part of this game. Instead of the full fantasy style stuff, this is definitely rooted in Arthurian context. So like King Arthur, Merlin, Percival, all those people. And it's so good. One of my biggest issues when it comes to like Skyrim, I didn't really get that into it. I loved Oblivion. I played that a ton. But when it came to Skyrim, I just didn't think it looked interesting. That could just be a personal preference. The game was good. I just didn't think it looked as appealing. Tainted Grail, on the other hand, looks phenomenal. Every area you go to, it's like highly stylized. You have the snowy biomes, like the winter biome. You have more farmland with like huge crop fields. You have more along the lines of like a beachfront sort of thing. There's castles everywhere, caves, dungeons, buildings, underground stuff, underwater places. There is a lot of variety in here, and they definitely took liberty in how they set up the world and how it looks. The Forlorn Swords, there's just a ton of huge swords sticking out of the ground. It just looks cool. And I think that was probably the biggest draw for me to wanting to get this game, was just watching it. That and the theme song. Listen, you play through it, side with whoever you want. It's choice and consequences. Side with whoever you want. However, as soon as I heard that theme, I knew for a fact I was siding with King Arthur. I'm sorry. It was too good. King Arthur. So instead of it being like a happy-go-lucky thing, this absolutely takes King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and does full dark, twisted fantasy with it. You're dealing with plagues. You're dealing with Knights of the Round Table going crazy. All of their like families dying and everything. And then you go and you talk to some of them. You got to fight them. You got to fight them. And it's so well done. The boss fight arenas, I think, are gorgeous, especially the one against Percival and Lancelot. Really liked it. You're dealing with this force known as the Weirdness, but it's like Wyrdness. So it's cool, it's spelled differently. During nighttime, the weirdness starts taking over, and you get a lot of like extra enemies that spawn in. The game also does something where, especially at night, when you're walking around and you look at your compass, it'll have like red dots for where enemies are when they're near you. When you're walking around at night, they'll just pop up on your compass, and then you'll go to turn, and then they're not there. I think that's so cool, because it kind of like keeps you on your toes. You don't know like who you're going to run into or what you're going to run into, because then right after that, there's a bell toll that you'll hear. And when you hear that, that means that there's this really strong enemy that spawns. You can't fight it. You just got to run away from it until you get like insanely over leveled. And even then, it's still difficult. It's the Bell Warden. I think that's his name, Bell Warden. I don't know. I'll have it up here. He's no joke. You don't mess with him. I killed him. It took forever. I used so many of my potions. I was like level 50 something. I was going through all my health trying to kill him, and I did. And I got that sense of satisfaction. I was like, yeah, this is me. I'm the best. I'm the Bell Warden now. But the designs of these enemies too look really cool. You go from the hyper stylized knights to like a big bee woman. She's just a big bee. It's interesting. It's cool. And I'm not gonna lie, the bee lady may have unlocked something in here. I didn't know that it was there. And then I rewatched the Bee movie and I thought, yeah, she definitely did something. It definitely feels different when you compare it to other like fantasy RPGs. There's no dragons. There's really no elves or anything like that. This is very much different while staying in the same, I guess, zones or like guidelines or railings as other RPGs. It's just, this has its own personality. It has so much to offer, and it's amazing. The exploration in this game is 100% driven by you. Like, there are some missions that'll tell you like, hey, go here, talk to this person, or go here, talk to this person. But that's really only for the big areas. For the smaller stuff, it's all self-paced exploration. You kind of do what you want. You find the dungeons, you come across caves, you come across like points of interest or characters of interest. There's a bunch of trials sprinkled around through the game to kill these like weird deer. At first, you're probably not gonna be able to kill them, but once you start leveling up and really picking your perks and class, like how you want to play the game, you'll find that they become easier. For the main quest, it's quite long. It's way longer than I thought it was gonna be. I think my playthrough put me at about 55 hours. However, I was doing a lot of the side stuff also, which there are plenty of side quests and a lot of variety in them. Some of them, like you're tracking down the tombs of some of the Knights of the Round Tables that have died. Other ones, you come across this huge elephant statue and you're like, I don't know what this is. And then you go, and a couple hours later, you end up meeting somebody that's talking about that place. And then you got to go back and you're like gathering information for this person. And then they like build cures and whatnot. It's pretty cool. There are a lot of bounties, some of which you can take on in the early game, and others you'll have to wait because they are too strong. That bleeds into some of the issue with the game, and that it's jank. There's a lot of jank in this game. However, like I said earlier, if you're like me and if you enjoy the game enough, you can look past a lot of the jank that can occur. So there were a couple times with like bounties, I killed them. And like I hit them with like a fireball thing, it blew up and it threw them off of where they were standing, and where they landed, I just couldn't get to it. So because of that, I couldn't get the tag and claim the bounty, which would then finish up the quest for like, it's not a real quest. It's just like, hey, kill all the bounties in this area. That was a little aggravating. However, you can't win them all, and I'm okay. I'm okay with dealing with that. On PlayStation specifically, I don't know about the PC port. There's a decent amount of frame stuttering, and it's apparent. Now, there has been an update that has helped deal with that. It still exists. It just isn't nearly as common, but it's still there. If that doesn't bother you, though, awesome. If it does bother you, try and look past it, because there's a really, really good game underneath all that. There is an issue in the snowy area, the last place you go. I would just be walking, and then the ground would disappear. It would just disappear, and I would like, oh, I'm gonna fall. But then it would just reappear. That happened a little while ago, and with the new update, since I went back to it, that hasn't happened. I don't know if it's completely gone, but just so you know, that was an issue that I was dealing with. Stuff like that I find funny. It doesn't necessarily take anything out of the game for me. I just think it's a little goofy. Some of the animations could be better, and specifically some of the animations in third-person mode could be better. However, the game wasn't meant to be third person. It was solely a first person game, and so many people asked for it. They put in an update to give you third person, but they did say the game was not meant to be played in third person, so the animations weren't built for that. So there is a little bit of jank with that. However, if it wasn't built for that, and then the devs decided, well, people want it, so we'll just give it to them, that's fine by me. Along with some awkward animations, some of the dialogue's a little awkward. The NPCs are definitely stiff when they're talking, but again, this is a AA game. There's a level of acceptance as long as the rest of it's good. And I know I sound like a broken record. This game is good enough to overlook those problems. When it comes to the level system, it's broken down into skills, and it is expansive. There's a lot. There's a lot here to really like fine tune how you want to play and really just immerse yourself in your character. So for me, I started off using swords and bows, and I just couldn't really get that. So I thought, let's try a magic class. When it comes to magic, you have your base magic skills that you use with your hand, but you also have staffs, wands, and cubes, which all tweak what your ability does. So with a cube, you have a prerequisite for it. It's like, hey, deal 500 damage. Next attack you do is double the damage that it normally is. Wands, when you upgrade them and everything, you can get permanent buffs on it. So for me, I use this one where it shoots this like big fire missile. But because of the wand that I have on, it makes it to where it shoots 2 of them, but it costs me a little bit of health. But because I've upgraded some of my skills, I get that health back. So I'm dishing out tons of damage with very little negative for it, and it's great. And that really does help because in the late game, balancing is kind of an issue. The way the game is built around zones, each zone has like their designated levels. So what can happen is you really level up your character in the first zone, you're feeling good. You go to the second zone, you get bodied. So it is like you kind of have to start leveling up again in the second zone in order to do well, and then you have to do it again in the third zone. I absolutely lowered the difficulty. I don't care what anybody says. I play games to have fun. Lower the difficulty. There's nothing wrong with it. You will have a way better time if you just, instead of normal, it's 1 difficulty level below that. I absolutely think a rough game that knows what it is and the personality can bypass a lot of AAA games that have no personality or don't know what they are. They try to do everything and then they end up doing nothing. This game sets out to do a very specific thing and it hits all the marks. It hits all of the marks. There's a reason people have called this Tainted Grail Drip of Avalon because it looks amazing. Let me just get out of here. Dude, look at this. Look at all of this stuff. Banger. Drip. The customization's amazing. Everything looks so good. And I have an issue with a lot of fantasy RPGs where I just don't think what I'm looking at looks interesting. This game, not only does the environment and everything look interesting, all of your armor looks interesting. I don't think there's a bad set of armor in the game. There's some weird sets. There is some weird armor, but most of it looks amazing. And you get plenty. There are stashes in all 3 zones where you can put all your extra stuff, and all of them are linked. So if you put one in the first zone, you'll be able to still get the stuff in the other zones. It definitely helps because you're getting a lot of armor. You're getting a lot of weapons. You got glowing red swords. You got glowing blue swords. You have swords where when you swing it then sends out a wave of like red. It looks cool. And it adds to personality of the game and the personality of how you want to play. And in games like this, that's all you can ask for. Really, all you want, good environment, cool weapons, cool armor. I don't really know what else. I personally don't know what else I need. It looks like Elder Scrolls. It does. And you can't get around that. But everything outside of the UI, it's its own thing. And not enough people talk about this. The theme song is a banger. Just listen to it. I can only put a couple of seconds on here or I'll get copyrighted. But just give it a second to listen to. It's amazing. Tainted Grail isn't great because it's finely tuned and polished. It's great because it's ambitious. It's great because in a world where we haven't had an Elder Scrolls in like 8 years, this fills that spot for a lot of people. To me, Tainted Grail is what Skyrim is to its fan base. It clicked with them, and then I just couldn't stop playing it. I just could not stop playing it. One big, maybe drawback, unless it was just something that I didn't notice, or like maybe I'm just stupid, you can't pickpocket in this game. That being said, I never really pickpocketed all that much in any of the Elder Scrolls or Fallout games. It was never really like my play style, so it didn't really bother me all that much. But I know maybe some people it could bother. Just a couple of like one-off things that I think makes this game kind of unique. You have the ability to do slides and like slide canceling and jumping out of slides. And I think it's so funny. I'm a little wizard running around and I get into a fight with a bunch of sword dudes and I'm just like sliding, jumping around them, hitting them with my magic and everything. I'm just fucking going at, breaking their ankles, dude. Breaking their ankle. I'm taking my Call of Duty skills into a fantasy RPG and I think it's hilarious. Also, throughout the game, King Arthur is the driving force for kind of the story, figuring out like the Red Plague, understanding like what started that, how it's going on, how it's affecting people. So there's some like investigation side quests for this game. But throughout the game, when you put your campfire down, which is where you level up, rest, you can make food there and everything. Depending on what's going on in the story, and if you did something like halfway important, King Arthur will sit down with you at the fireplace and talk, and you can ask him questions about how Avalon was when he was there. Because this is it's like 100 years, 200 years. It's been quite a while since King Arthur's death and what's happening right now in the game. And I think those conversations are just cool. It gives you, backstory, a little lore dump. He'll talk about other members of the Knights of the Round Table. After you fight any of them or you meet any of them, you'll have a talk about it, and he'll tell you like how they've changed over the years, or they used to be like a pinnacle of goodness, and now they're like, okay, I'm just out here executing people. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool, which brings me to what I think is the coolest feature in any video game. You get to draw stuff. You have a sketchbook. And wherever you are, it does not matter where you are in the game, wherever you are, you pull the sketchbook out, whatever you're looking at, you'll draw whatever you see in front of you. And then you have that as a collection. You keep all your sketches. And I think that's such a cool and immersive way to do. I mean, just look. I'll show up some of my sketches. Does that make you want to draw? I'm not a good artist. I can't. I'm not really that good at drawing. I'm an amazing artist in this game. Everywhere I was going, I'm like, that's really pretty. I gotta draw that. Or, whoa, hey, I need to keep this. Yeah. My only issue with that system, I think there should be like a leveling system associated with it where you get better the more you do it, or the more you do it, the higher the prices of the sketches are and you can sell them. You don't really get any money for selling sketches. But if they were to make a sequel and they bring that feature in, expand on it more. I think it's so cool. It's the coolest thing. Make it have a little more impact. Make me be able to get better at it and be able to sell them to vendors or people, or give them as gifts. Like if you talk to some NPCs and they're like, yeah, I really like this area or this area. You then go there, do a sketch of that area, and then bring it back to them as a gift, and they'd be like, oh, thank you. I think that's cool. That's just a little extra, little more tools in the toolbox there. Overall, Tainted Grail is a flawed game. It might be one of the most flawed games I do on here, but what it does right is so much better than any of the flaws it has. As long as you can look past some buggy animations, you can look past some issues with dialogue, specifically, at least on PlayStation, being able to look past some stuttering, some frame rate drops, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's gorgeous. I think the combat's good. I enjoy how in-depth you can be with it. The character designs are great. You get some really weird looking people, and you get some really cool looking people. Don't sleep on this game. If you're looking for something to scratch that Elder Scrolls itch, or just another fantasy RPG, check it out. Check it out. You might be pleasantly surprised. So I just want to say, it has been a little while since my last video. I've been doing finals. I'm in college, so I was finishing up finals, and I was also moving. Girlfriend and I moved in together, so we've been getting all that stuff set up and whatnot, so it just took a little time. I'm hoping I can get this one out fairly soon, and then I already have a bunch of footage for the next game. I just want to thank you all for stopping by, enjoying it if you did enjoy it, and I would love to see you in the next one. If you could do me a huge favor, it wouldn't be bad if you would like and subscribe. If you want to. If you want to stick around, maybe catch some cool new games. Well, new to you. It'd be cool.